Thank you for connecting to learn more about the Accelerated Math program for elementary students in Northwest ISD. As you think about this opportunity for your student, it's really important to understand the why. What is motivating you and your student to accelerate a year in math? So as you think about that, we ask that you really think about why acceleration is important. And acceleration is about creating a better match between the readiness and motivation of your student and the level and the pace of instruction. And so it's not just about, can my student do the math? It's also about, is my student motivated to do the math? So that is a really key, critical piece. And it's important to note that acceleration is not about finding an answer when a student says, oh, but I'm bored, because boredom means a lot of different things, and there are a lot of different reasons and solutions for when somebody says they're bored. So acceleration is not about boredom. Acceleration is about matching the readiness and the motivation with the level and the pace of instruction. If you would like to know more about acceleration, you're invited to visit the Acceleration Institute just by clicking this link, where you can learn more about the history of acceleration, the research behind it, the different ways that acceleration occurs, and what are the different effects of it. The intended outcomes are annually that a student who's accelerated should be getting to the master's level when they take a STAR or an EOC exam. Their semester grade should be an 85 or higher. If a student is not hitting one of these marks when they're accelerated, then that tells us that either the readiness wasn't there or the motivation isn't there. And so really, for a student to be successful and to be happy in their mathematic endeavors, they really should be hitting both of these. And that tells us that it's a good match for that instruction. Long term, of course, we want students to be appropriately challenged in mathematics, to have that productive struggle that is going to lead to that passion for the study of mathematics. We hope that these students will continue to take advanced math classes in high school for college credit, and then even beyond college, are they looking at a career that has a mathematical foundation, because a student who's accelerated should really have that drive and that motivation and that passion to want to continue on beyond high school and beyond college, so that math is a part of their life. Students will also really develop a whole new layer of those executive functioning skills and those study skills, especially when they hit 5th grade, when they are in a remote learning environment, which I'll talk about here in just a few minutes. And then we also think that we will see an increased number of national merits for students who are accelerating, because they are being appropriately challenged and really experiencing math at a whole new level. So you may ask yourself, who is this program intended to serve? Well, it is really intended to serve our very high achieving and gifted math students, which is typically about 1% of the population. This opportunity is available to current first graders and above. Our students who have found the most success with accelerated math have typically scored in the 90th percentile on the quantitative part of the COGAT. They'll take the CBE, and they must have a 90 or higher when they take that. That's showing us that they've mastered 90% of the standards of the class that they'll be skipping. And Just as important, the student has to be self-motivated, and they need to be willing to take the initiative and get things done, ask for help, figure out some, problem solving. So that is who this program is intended to serve. It's important to know not just what next year will look like, or that first year of acceleration, but when you're making this decision, we feel it's important that you think about the rest of your students' public education career in terms of what standards will they be covering, what courses would they take, what state testing will they be required to do. And so starting in third grade, which is the first year a STAR test is given, students who are accelerated in math will take the STAR test for the math grade that they're taking. So, for example, if you have a third grader who goes to fourth grade for math, that means that they are learning all the fourth grade standards that year. They've got a fourth grade book, they've got fourth grade resources, and so they're going to take the fourth grade STAR. And that pathway will continue when they hit middle school. Because of state and federal requirements, they actually have to take the eighth grade STAR twice. The first time they take it, it will be in sixth grade, because that's the year that they will cover the eighth grade texts. They covered those in advanced math, pre-algebra. And then the next year in Algebra 1, they'll take the Algebra EOC, which is required to graduate from high school. And then as an eighth grader, they'll take an eighth grade STAR again. And that's just, again, because of state and federal requirements. It is critically important to know what your student's math career is going to look like until they graduate from high school. And this chart gives you a nice view of what a math pathway looks like, regardless of what level your child is at. So this on level is our traditional pathway, where they're just taking each year, they're doing the standards for that particular grade level. As seniors, a student in this grouping would be able to take on-ramps pre-calculus, which gives them the opportunity to earn college credit. If your student chooses the traditional pre-AP math, I'm not going to accelerate, I'm going to take fifth grade math as a fifth grader, and then when I go into middle school, I'm going to take 6th, 7th compacted math, and then as a 7th grader, I'm going to take advanced pre-algebra. What happens in middle school is that over the course of the 6th and 7th grade year, the student is actually covering 6th, 7th, and 8th grade standards, so that by the time they're in 8th grade, they're taking Algebra 1, which is a traditional high school class. And then you can see the pathway continues so that by the time they're a senior, they have opportunities to take AP courses and again, earn some college credit. For students who choose to take that CBE and they get a 90 and they accelerate 1 year in math, then that means as a 5th grader, they're going to be taking that 6th, 7th compacted advanced math. So they'll be learning 6th grade standards, all of the 6th grade standards, some of the 7th grade standards, and then taking the appropriate STAR exam that year. And they're doing it in a remote learning environment, which we'll discuss here in a little bit. Then when they go into middle school, they're taking that advanced pre-algebra, which means they're in a class probably with some other 6th graders, but also some 7th graders. And then as a 7th grader, they're taking Algebra 1, again, with other 7th graders, but also with 8th graders. And then they take geometry, allowing them to earn their 2nd high school credit while they're still in middle school. And this might be a traditional face-to-face class at their middle school, or it could be that they are remotely connecting with another geometry class somewhere else in the district. Students on this pathway get to those AP opportunities their junior year. which allows them to spread out those opportunities. For the students who are double accelerated, which will not be very many students, it shouldn't be. This is a very, very small percent of the population who needs double acceleration. But their pathway is the same as the accelerated path, just of course a year earlier. So, for example, a fifth grader who is double accelerated is taking advanced pre-algebra, which means they're covering all of the eighth grade standards and most of the seventh grade standards. And they're doing that as a fifth grader when most students do that as a seventh grader. And then as a sixth grader, so their first year in middle school, they're going to take Algebra 1, which means they'll be in class with seventh and eighth graders. As a seventh grader, they're taking geometry, which means they could be in a face-to-face class with other with seventh graders, or they may be remotely connecting with a geometry class at another middle school or even at the high school. And then as eighth graders, they're taking Algebra 2, which again means they're connecting with an Algebra 2 class at a high school, at one of our high schools. And then when they start their freshman year of high school, they're taking pre-AP, pre-calculus, which means they'll be in class with 10th and 11th graders. And then that opens up the opportunity to take those AP classes as early as their 10th grade year. And again, it spreads out their AP opportunities, and it also affords them the opportunity to take an advanced math class, an advanced calculus class through a partnering college or university. We partner with Tarrant County Community College quite a bit, and while they can offer some things, they are also limited in what they can and what they are able to offer as well. And another thing to consider is often students who are on this double accelerated path are going into a STEM field, something that requires a lot of math. And their college, while they're excited to have an advanced student, may not want them to advance so much, and they will still ask them to take, like, oh, you took the AP exam and you got AP credit, and that's wonderful, but we still want you to take our calculus because it's critical to how our program is successful. So that is something to definitely be aware of and to be thinking about. And as your student progresses, then there are some things that we as a district can help you with, but we'll definitely have to look at each student individually for those double accelerated students and the pathways that they might be on. And then another opportunity outside of Northwest that a student who is passionate about math might want to consider is the TAMS program at UNT. TAMS is the Texas Academy of Math and Science, and it's for accelerated math students. It's an early college entrance residential program, typically for sophomores and above, and they are immersed in their math and science and getting college credit. And it's just, it really continues them on that pipeline of STEM education. So that might be something just to look at their website and explore. You can schedule a visit to learn more about it. But often students who are accelerated in math, this is a natural opportunity for them. I want to talk more specifically about what math acceleration looks like at the elementary level. In first through fourth grade, it is pretty black and white. If your student is accelerated, when it's time for math, they'll get up, leave the classroom, and go to a math class in the grade above. So, for example, if your student is a second grader and they are accelerated to take third grade math when it's time for math, Your student will get up, they'll walk out the door, they'll go to a third grade classroom, and they will be in that third grade classroom for the entirety of math. They will have all the third grade resources, and learn all of the third grade standards for that year. It looks different for our fifth graders because our fifth graders are taking a middle school math class. They are in a remote learning environment with a math acceleration specialist. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, this is Mrs. Baker. She is our math acceleration specialist. She currently teaches 84 students, 84 fifth graders across the district. She has 3 sections of math each day, so she has anywhere from 20 to 35 students, and she connects with them through Zoom every day, and she uses a lot of technology tools, Pear Deck and Google, and just a wide variety, Edpuzzle, and she is able to teach them through Zoom, and then students have the opportunity to show their work, to collaborate, to have solo time. She's able to give them feedback. On the days that she does not use this setup, she may provide a lesson that she's already recorded through Edpuzzle, where students are working in their class, and she uses those days to travel around the district and visit with students. So these fifth grade students do get some face-to-face time with her, but it is not every day. It's not even every week. It really just kind of varies. So that's a little bit of what it looks like. If you're interested in seeing more, you can click on this link and it will take you to a short video of Mrs. Baker and her math class. Again, just some high points. The work that she provides is differentiated. She follows the workshop model like all of our classroom teachers do, ensuring that students have time, solo time, collaboration time, that they are reflecting on their progress and setting goals, that they're showcasing their work and communicating about their learning in a variety of different ways. And you can see here some examples of some goal setting by students, and kind of what that looks like. Because this, in all grade levels, of course, in all classes, of course, it's a collaborative effort between our schools and our families to really provide the best we can for all students. But when it comes to math acceleration, there is a different layer of expectation, especially when it's a remote learning environment, just because that is so different. And here you can see some of the expectations that we have found in order for everyone to be successful, that these expectations are really critical. At this point, in fifth grade, students have got to learn to advocate for themselves and to reach out and ask for help, and to send that email saying, Mrs. Baker, I'm not sure about this lesson. Can you please help me? But it's just as important for our parents and guardians to be involved and to read those updates and to reach out for help and to understand the grading policy, because it is a middle school class. So the grading policy is a little bit different than from what elementary students are used to. Encouraging the use of Imagine Math at home, because even though your students accelerated, it's likely that they have gaps because somewhere along the way they skipped a grade level of content. And so we have found that students who utilize Imagine Math, they are the most successful because they are closing their gaps and it's giving them a great foundation for the accelerated content that they're receiving. So now we come to the process. How does this all happen? We ask first, some of you are probably already registered, and if you are, that's great. If you're not registered yet, or if you're registered but you haven't met with someone at your child's campus, that would really be the first step that we would really encourage you to do, to speak with your student's math teacher, the counselor, the GT specialist, even an administrator, to find out just a little bit more about, okay, I have the kind of the big picture about math acceleration, but what does it exactly look like at my child's campus? What will that mean for scheduling and just all other sorts of things? So we really encourage you to talk to somebody at your campus for those kind of specific details. Normally, we would ask you to attend an informational meeting, but this screencast will help with that. And then you'll register for the CBE. Registration is open now for the May test, and registration for the July test will open at the end of May. You register through the Research and Assessment and Accountability Department. And then once your student takes the test, and we get those results back, a few weeks later, we'll reach out to you with your students' results, and then your campus will also reach out to you, and your campus has an acceleration committee with this GT specialist and administrator, classroom teachers, and they'll meet to go over the results with you and to make those placement decisions at that time. And it might be that your student meets the criteria, makes a 93 on the test, but you realize maybe the motivation isn't there, or the student's not quite sure, or you're kind of rethinking, and that's okay. Meeting the criteria does not automatically mean you still have that discretion to make that final decision. And then, of course, if you have any questions, I hope you will email me at arowell@nisdtx.org, and I can help you if you want to just talk through things, if you want to know more about what it looks like in middle and high school. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. If you have questions about the actual registration of the exam and testing details, like what, the day and what do I need to bring, that kind of thing, then you can email Rhonda Cagle. She is in charge of scheduling all of our students for the days of testing, and she can help you with any logistical questions. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.